Well, I hope that video left you not only relaxed, but also well informed about the many wonderful approaches that CAM has on mental and medical health, as well as the benefits. Moving along, I found a pilot program by Collins and Associates entitled Integrating Complementary Therapies into Community Mental Health Practice and Exploration. Here, the researchers had a non-controlled study of 25 mental health participants with a history of trauma such as sexual abuse, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and major depressive disorder. Participants were able to choose which energy therapy they wanted to engage in, with the choices being therapeutic touch, healing touch, acupuncture, and Reiki. The participants were either allowed to choose 10 sessions for therapeutic touch, healing touch, or Reiki, or they could choose 5 sessions of acupuncture. These sessions were also in addition to the psychotherapy they were already receiving. Researchers define therapeutic touch as well as healing touch as its aim to restore balance and harmony in the energy field only a few inches away from the skin. Researchers found in their study previous studies that shared that nurses and massage therapists are trained in therapeutic touch and that it actually has been proven to improve mood. Acupuncture is used to stimulate the flow and circulation of energy by inserting fine-haired needles along the energetic pathways. They also found that studies showed to improve conditions for clients with depression and anxiety after having had acupuncture. Reiki is very similar to therapeutic touch, but the therapist actually touched the clients with using Reiki. However, I will furthermore explain Reiki in upcoming slides. Client psychotherapists were also encouraged to participate in sessions, especially the first session, and then preceding sessions as needed. Along with participating in those sessions, psychotherapists and the complementary therapists also had collaborative sessions. The researchers were given brief surveys and Likert scales and asked open-ended questions to the clients to measure their overall satisfaction. Results indicated that many of the clients, with the exception of 2, had positive outcomes of increasing self-confidence and were able to receive healthy and non-invasive touch. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Reiki, another form of energy healing. An article by Latour called The Use of Reiki in Psychotherapy reported that Reiki is a Japanese term for universal life force. There is no wrong way to touch a person that can cause harm. The healer is simply drawing energy from the client's body that causes a rebalance in the vibrational field. Also, another journal called Reiki Reduces Burnout Among Community Mental Health Clinicians by Rosada and Associates described Reiki healing as a type of holistic energy work or biofield therapy that promotes energetic balance, and that Reiki uses physical touch to promote energetic healing in the body, which also results in healing mentally. Latour reported that a traditional Reiki treatment session calls for hands to be placed in 12 positions on the head and in the front or back of the torso that correspond with the endocrine and lymph systems. Now we're going to watch a brief video that just further talks about Reiki and its wonderful benefits.
people, Reiki is mysterious, foreign, or just plain made up. But let me ask you something. When you experience pain, what do you do? The reality is, we all naturally perform the fundamental essence of Reiki on pretty much a daily basis. It's inherent, instinctive. It's innate within all of us. When you have a headache, where do your hands go? You cradle your head with your hands, right? When you hurt yourself, where do your hands go? You grasp that area with your hands, and you keep them there until the pain eases up, right? And when your tummy hurts, where do your hands go? You soothe your tummy with your hands. How about with others? A little one comes to you and shows you where they hurt. What do? You place your hands on the area that hurts. You might even embrace them while you have your hands over their hurt. You kiss their boo-boo and make it all better. Why do you do this? What is it that you're doing? Our bodies are made up of energy. We exist in a universe of energy. When we use our hands to comfort her, we are transferring and focusing energy. But the use of hand placements goes beyond hurt. What about an expectant mother caressing her tummy? A couple holding hands. A handshake. A pat on the back. We all like that pat on the back, right? In a nutshell, that is the essence of Reiki. Reiki is a transfer of the highest healing energies from one being to another. Reiki amplifies and intensifies the power of touch. It promotes balance and harmony in your spirit, mind, and body. Reiki is a natural, simple, and powerful practice anyone can learn to help themselves, anyone of any age, at any time. Experience the power of touch. Tap into and empower your life force energy. Peace.
So I hope you were able to see a little bit about the wonderful benefits that Reiki has to offer and who can it be really good for as well. So in going forward with Reiki, I want to just talk a little bit more about the ethical boundaries. When Reiki is performed on clients, clients can either have the option of standing, sitting down, lying down, or they're fully clothed. Reiki does not manipulate the body through stretches, kneading, or massaging. The client will be gently touched, as you saw in the video, from 3 to 5 minutes in several locations on the body that do not include the private areas. Reiki practitioners are also encouraged to heal themselves of unresolved wounds, such as therapists are encouraged to seek therapy in graduate school. They also promote their clients to learn Reiki and to do self-healing. And they also discuss that Reiki has both benefits for the healer and the person being healed. They definitely do promote that Reiki healers also seek their own self-healing, just as graduate students are encouraged to seek therapy. There was a great clinical example given by Latour in her article in which a wife seeks couples counseling with their therapist. She has hopes of her husband coming to therapy, but unfortunately her husband does not attend the initial sessions. Nonetheless, the wife continues on with having therapy and was introduced to Reiki healing as a form of relaxation. She liked it so much that she later attended a training session herself and began using Reiki healing on herself, and sometimes when she noticed her husband being stressed, she would use it on him as well. The husband started to enjoy the Reiki treatments, and so he later decided to take a training course as well. The couple then reported that they felt like their conflicts were, less, and that they had decreased tension between them. So Reiki healing definitely has some great benefits, and not only just for one person, but for couples as well. A journal by Novoa and Kong called The Effects of Reiki Treatment on Mental Health Professionals at Risk for Secondary Traumatic Stress, a placebo-controlled study. It was conducted to utilize a control group, a placebo group, and a Reiki group. Participants were mental health professionals who experienced secondary traumatic stress. These professionals were found at different mental health agencies in the Louisiana area. They define secondary traumatic stress as a frequent exposure to previous indirect traumatic events, such as helping a person who's being traumatized. Such symptoms can be anxiety, insomnia, isolation, anger, fear, somatic reactions, as well as aches and arousal. Participants were randomly selected to groups by using colored pebbles. Two of the groups were told they would receive Reiki either from a distance or when they came in, but neither one received the treatment. The actual Reiki group received treatments once a week for 4 weeks at scheduled times. Although the researchers reported on previous positive correlational studies in which Reiki was found effective with secondary traumatic stress for lowering physiological conditions, their study did not find any positive correlations. Their study did add to the body of research by specifically adding in mental health professionals. However, the researchers did explain that a lot of Reiki studies were not replicated, so there is not much evidence to prove just how effective Reiki healing is in relation to psychological or physiological conditions. A similar study done by Rosada that talked about mental health clinicians and having burnout. They did a crossover study in which was inspired by previous research they found that had positive correlations of utilizing complementary therapies that reduce stress in nurses. So they took 45 mental health participants and surrounding community mental health agencies in Vermont and Massachusetts, and they chose them if they worked either over 30 hours a week or they had a minimum experience of 5 years in the field. These participants received 30 minutes of Reiki treatments for 6 weeks, hands-on in a chair by either a Reiki practitioner or an untrained individual acting as if they were performing Reiki. After those initial 6 weeks, participants had a 6-week break, and then they did a crossover study, and the one group that actually did receive the Reiki now received the sham Reiki sessions. Researchers discovered that they proved their hypothesis to be true. 30-minute Reiki treatments for 6 weeks can reduce a burnout symptom for community mental health professionals. Now I wanted to move into clinical practice. We have briefly talked about a couple of studies and how they seek to integrate psychotherapy with incorporating spiritual and religious beliefs. But now the question is, how do mental health professionals integrate the two ethically, unbiased, and without imposing their own personal beliefs?